Chant and dance as much as possible in this human form of life.
Hare Krishna devotees, welcome all for the Sunday Feast program. And today we have a very special guest. His Grace Arjun Sakhā Prabhu is with us. And he is one of the disciple of His Holiness Radha Govinda Goswami Maharaj, and who is a disciple of His Divine Grace Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. And Arjun Sakhā Prabhu is well known for his Srimad Bhagavatam classes, and he holds an academically Master of Information System in America, and he also holds a spiritual degree called Bhakti Shastri from ISKCON. So, and he's also the younger brother of His Grace Amarendra Prabhu. So we are very, very fortunate, and it's been a long time we are waiting for him, and because of the COVID, it got stopped everything. Otherwise, we'd have got his association earlier, like few months back. So we just want to welcome him, and please take over, Prabhu.
Om Ajnanathimiranthasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadhamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanustute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Gurave Gaura Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Ananda Lila Maya Vigrahaya Hemavadivya Chavisundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Hare Krishna. So before I begin, I would want to very humbly prostrate myself at the lotus feet of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and at the lotus feet of all our predecessor acharyas, from whose lectures and commentaries and morning walks I would be presenting this discussion. And finally, I would also want to prostrate myself at the lotus feet of all the assembled Vaishnavas and pray for their blessings and best wishes, so that I may speak something favorable in line with our Gaudiya Siddhanta and predecessor acharyas. Please accept my very humble obeisances. Vancha kalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So just a quick sound check. Is the voice audible for everyone?
Yes, it's very clear, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhu. So when I was having a discussion with Hari Prabhu, he told me that I could choose a topic of my choice. And I thought of speaking on one of the very famous pastimes of Sri Krishna in Braja, the binding, the unbound pastime, the Dambandhan Lila, the Damodar Lila. Now, this is a pastime which devotees have heard many number of times. The same verses, the same pastime, the same story, the same Damodara-ashtakam. Devotees have heard for time immemorial. But still, the hunger to hear this pastime again and again is ever increasing. This is a pastime that can span days and weeks and months and years and probably even lifetimes. So it is absolutely impossible for me to cover the whole pastime in about an hour's time. But what we could do is we could skim through this topic to the best of our ability. Srimad Bhagavatam is such a very beautiful gift that Shukadev Goswami has given us. Nigama kalpatarur galitam phalam shuka mukhad. This Bhagavatam is considered as the ripened fruit. You see, in this world, there are trees, and the tree of a particular type gives a fruit of a particular type. For example, a mango tree gives a mango fruit. An apple tree gives an apple fruit. But the tree of Vedic wisdom that is there, it doesn't work this way. The tree of Vedic wisdom at one point gives multiple fruits. It gives the fruit of bhukti, it gives the fruit of mukti, while it also gives the fruit of bhakti. Depending on what the practitioner is aspiring for, this tree of Vedic wisdom gives different fruits at different time and circumstance. So this Srimad Bhagavatam, as I said, is the ripened fruit of devotional nectar. There is a fruit in a tree on one of the branch, and there are ants that are crawling on the ground. Now, there is no way possible that the ant can ever taste the juice of the mango. The ant can only hope, but it can never cut open and eat the mango. But what to do? There is a very merciful bird by the name parrot. When the parrot sees the ants, he thinks to himself that the ants cannot taste the juice of the mango, so better I do one thing. The parrot decides to put his beak inside the mango fruit. Now, when the parrot puts his beak inside the mango fruit, there are three things that happen. First, when the parrot is putting his beak, he is tasting the mango himself. Being the parrot, when he's putting the beak inside, he's tasting the fruit. He's tasting the juice of the mango himself. Second, because of the saliva of the parrot, the taste of the mango increases. The mango is already sweet, but now because the parrot has put its beak inside, because of its saliva, the taste of the mango has increased. And finally, third, because he has put his beak inside, few drops of the mango juice, they fall onto the ground. And those ants that were crawling on the ground can now taste the sweetness of the mango. Now let us see what these three things mean. First, the parrot is putting his beak inside the fruit. Who is the parrot? Shukadev Goswami, the most worshipable parrot of Srimati Radharani. So Shukadev Goswami is first putting his beak inside the mango fruit, that is Srimad Bhagavatam, and he's tasting the sweetness. You see, you have to be a rasik to taste Srimad Bhagavatam. You have to be a rasik Vaishnava, and Shukadev Goswami is the best example of being our rasik Vaishnava. So he puts his beak inside and tastes the sweetness of the mango. Second, we discussed because of the saliva of the parrot, the taste of the fruit increases, which means when the bhav of Shukadev Goswami is mixed, gets coupled with the commentaries of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the sweetness of the Bhagavatam increases. Bhagavatam, like the mango fruit, is already very sweet, but now because it has been coupled with the sweetness of the saliva, that is Shukadev Goswami's bhav, the sweetness increases. And finally, the drops of this mango, it falls onto the ground, and the ants on the ground can taste. Who are those ants? We are those ants. We on our own accord can never taste the sweetness of the mango, but because Shukadev Goswami has put his beak inside, he has tasted the mango. With his bhav, he has increased the taste of the mango, and then he has brought down this taste. What does it mean to bring it down? Well, this taste comes down in the mood of the sampradayas. from one self-realized acharya to another self-realized acharya to another self-realized acharya. This sweetness of the mango that is Srimad Bhagavatam comes down in disciplic succession, and ants like us who are crawling on the ground can now take shelter of the sweetness of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which was never possible on our own accord. So thanks to Shukadev Goswami and our predecessor acharyas like Srila Prabhupada, who have brought down this current of Braja Prem, of the mellows of Sri Vrindavan Dham. Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridyantastu Bhadrani Vidhunoti Surut Satham. Srimad Bhagavatam, when it enters the ears of the listener, our ears are like the doors. And when Srimad Bhagavatam enters to the doors of the human body, what happens is Vidhunoti. It clears all the contaminations that have been present for lifetimes together. Through different material activities like Ashtanga Yoga and Hatha Yoga and so many others, the dust that has accumulated in the heart can never be cleansed. But when Srimad Bhagavatam very mercifully, in the form of Sri Krishna, enters the door like ears into the heart gets completely cleansed. And that is when we can understand Sri Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. So many times this question is asked, oh, what will I get by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam? Because people of modern day Kali, they always want to strike business deals. They always want to know what profit can I attain. So this question is asked, when I hear Srimad Bhagavatam, what is the benefit that I will obtain? And Shukadev Goswami says, Bhaktir utpadyate pumsam shoka moha bhayapaha. When a listener hears attentively to Srimad Bhagavatam, there are two things that happen, dear devotees. Bhaktir utpadyate, bhakti rises in the heart. That bhakti that we are hankering for just by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. It's the lazy, intelligent way to make progress in bhakti. When we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, bhaktir utpadyate, bhakti rises in the heart. And naturally, when something rises, there has to be something that also falls. So, bhaktir utpadyate pumsam, shoka, moha, bhayapaha. Three things are destroyed. What are the three things? Shoka, that means lamentation. Moha, illusion. And third thing, bhaya. This is self-explanatory. This does not require any explanation. In the last 6 months or so, devotees have been self-realized in bhaya. Thanks to COVID, every single person, right from a toddler to an adult, has become completely self-realized. But you see, these three things are always present in the heart: lamentation, illusion, and fear. And Shukadev Goswami very beautifully, he says, my dear listeners, my dear readers, if you want to know what is the benefit of Bhagavatam, or then just by hearing, bhakti will rise in the heart, and these three things, that is shoka, moha, and bhaya, will be completely destroyed. So Shukadev Goswami, he narrates the 12 cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the first 9 cantos, he hammers upon, he drills on one point. Ete chamsa kalaha pumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam Indrari Vyakulam Loka Mridayantim Yuge Yuge. 1.3.28 Bhagavat. He hammers this point that, oh, who is Krishna? Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is Bhagavan. Krishna brooks no competitor. Krishna has no competitor, absolutely. Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. In the first 9 cantos, this point has been made. You see, Shukadev Goswami could have straight away given the 10th canto. He could have thought to himself that, oh, Parikshit has only 7 days left. If it was a diyas course or any of those courses, I could have given everything. But here Parikshit has only 7 days. But Shukadev Goswami didn't do that way. He spoke all the 9 cantos first, drilled upon, emphasized upon this point as to what is the position of Sri Krishna. Who is Sri Krishna? And then he finally describes the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because otherwise it is possible, if the 10th canto is straight away given, people may think to themselves, oh, Krishna steals, that is fine. I steal, that is a problem. Krishna lies, that is fine. I lie, that is a problem. Krishna eats dirt, that is fine. I eat dirt, that is a problem. So Krishna can be considered like a mere mortal, and that is something that Shukadev doesn't want us to do. So that is why in the first 9 cantos, he gives the Aishwarya Prakash of Sri Krishna as to who Krishna is. And then finally, in the 10th canto, he gives the sweet Madhurya Braj pastimes. And this is also the reason, dear devotees, Satyavrata Muni in his Damodara-ashtakam starts off by saying, Namam Ishwaram Sachitananda Rupam. He starts off by giving the Aishwarya Prakash of the Supreme Lord, and then later gives the Madhurya pastimes. Again, making the same point that, my dear devotees, who is this Krishna? He is Bhagavan. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this point, time and again, it is drilled as to who Krishna is, so that we are not bewildered hearing the pastimes of Sri Krishna in Vrindavan Dham. So in this way, Srimad Bhagavatam has been very beautifully decorated by the commentaries of our predecessor acharyas. Shukadev Goswami has already presented the Bhagavatam, but our predecessor acharyas, including Srila Prabhupada, have very beautifully decorated Srimad Bhagavatam. Krishna himself is very sweet, but the commentaries of Krishna in the 10th canto especially are sweeter. And one of the sweetest pastimes in the 10th canto is the Damodar Lila, the Dam Bandhan Lila. Krishna knows very well, oh, you like fighting? Okay, I will kill Putana. You like some drama, some action, some suspense? Shamantakmani. You want some power? You want to see some display of power? Lifting Giriraj. So Krishna very nicely knows the heart of all the jivas in this world, and he very nicely performs different pastimes only so that our heart gets attracted to any one of those pastimes and we develop this desire of going back to Krishna. But at this point, dear devotees, a question arises. Okay, well, you said Krishna comes down, he performs the Braj pastime, but what is the reason? Why is he even coming down? What is the aim? What is the desire that is there in Krishna for descending down? Is it to kill demons? Well, no. Killing demons is the work of Vishnu. That even Vishnu can do. So then why is Krishna coming down? What is the desire in his heart? And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita very beautifully answers in a set of verses. Kaviraj Goswami says, Prema rasa niryas korite aswadan, rag marg bhakti loke korite pracharan, rasika shekhara Krishna parama karuna, ei dui hetu hoite ichhara udgama. Ei dui hetu hoite ichhara udgama. 2 desires manifested in the heart of Krishna. What were the 2 desires? Prema rasa niryas korite aswadan, to taste the love, especially of the Brajavasis. And rag marg bhakti loke korite pracharan, and to preach this love. To taste the love and to preach the love, Sri Krishna decides to come down. Not to kill demons, that even Vishnu can do. But it is basically to come down and taste the love of the Brajavasis. Amare Ishware mane apana ke heen, tara prema vasha amin na hoy adhin. Krishna says, Amare Ishware mane apana ke heen. If someone considers me as Ishwar and considers him as heen, very subservient, Krishna says, I respect that love, but that love cannot conquer my heart. Tara prema vasha amin na hoy adhin. I don't become adhin. I don't become subservient to that kind of love where people worship me in the mood of awe and reverence. Krishna says, I respect that, but that love cannot conquer my heart. And very beautifully, Kaviraj Goswami then continues by saying, now he starts describing the Vrindavan aspect of the Supreme Lord. He first explains as to what Krishna is not looking for, and then he starts explaining as to what Krishna is actually looking out for. He starts explaining the friends of the Supreme Lord. Sakha Shuddha Sakhya Kare Skanda Arohan, Tumi Kon Bada Lok, Tumi Amisham, The friends of Krishna are described. Sakha Shuddha Sakhya Kare Skanda Arohan. Sri Krishna would play hide and seek with his friends. And very nicely, Krishna would play with Madhumangal, with Sri Dam, with Stoka Krishna, with Vasudam, Kinkini, Arjun. With various friends, Krishna would play this game of hide and seek. And they would play it all day long. And in the evening, when the sun is about to set, Krishna would tell his friends, "Oh, Madhumangal, I have to go. My Maya is calling me. Mother Yashoda is calling me." So when the friends would hear, they would get really angry at Krishna. They would say, "Krishna, your mother was calling you even in the morning. She was calling you even in the afternoon. But now in the evening, you're remembering that your mother is calling. Now when it is time for you to seek and it is time for us to hide, that is the time you're remembering that your mother is calling. In the morning, you were hiding and we were seeking. That time you didn't remember anything. You were ready to miss your breakfast. You were ready to miss your lunch. But now in the evening, when it is time for you to seek and it is time for us to hide, you're remembering that your mother is calling." Krishna says, "Really, my mother is calling, Maya is calling me. If I don't go, my Maya will not take me inside." Madhumangal says, "We know, Krishna. Even we have mothers and we know how to convince them. It is up to you, Krishna, whether you want to be a mama's boy or not. But let me tell you, Krishna, if you go to your mother, then we will not take you in any of our games from tomorrow. We will all play, but we will make sure, Krishna, we don't take you in our games. The ball is in your court. It is up to you to decide whether you want to go to Maya or whether you want to be with us." You see, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says, "Vedaham samatitani vartamanani cha Arjuna bhutani cha bhavishyani mam to vedana kaschana." He says, "Oh, I know past, present, and future. I know everything of all living entities." But that Supreme Lord is now scratching his head whether he wants to be with his friends or whether he wants to be with his Maya. And then our acharyas very beautifully, they say, that time Krishna decides to be with his friends because Krishna knows that he can somehow convince his mother. But if he loses his friends, where will Krishna go? How will he perform all his Sakhya pastimes? With whom will he play all day long in Giriraj? So Krishna picks his friends over his mother and then later goes to his mother and convinces his mother. So Kaviraj Goswami is setting the benchmark of pure love by first describing the friends of Krishna. And this is precisely what Krishna says. "Mora putra, mora sakha, mora pranapati, e bhave je more kare shuddha bhakti." Mora putra, anyone who considers me as their child. Mora sakha, anyone who considers me as their friend. Mora pranapati, anyone who sees me as their beloved. E bhave je more kare shuddha bhakti. This is shuddha bhakti. Anyone who sees me in any of these rasas as a friend, or as in the mood of parental, or as a beloved, Krishna says, this is Shuddha Bhakti. This is the Bhakti I'm looking out for, my dear devotees. Apanake bada mane amar samahin. Krishna says, if someone considers themselves as very great and considers me as subservient, Krishna says, that kind of love attracts my heart. You see, the Brajavasis' love is so high, they consider themselves greater than Krishna. Our mood is we consider ourselves subservient to Krishna. But the mood of the Brajavasis is they consider themselves greater than Krishna. And Krishna says, Apanake badamane amara samahin. Someone who considers themselves greater and considers me subservient. Krishna says, that kind of love attracts my heart. Now, many times we also feel, oh, I'm very great. We are given some service and we accomplish that service. And we feel, oh, I'm very great. Apanake badamane. Yes, I'm very great. But this is not what Kaviraj Goswami is meaning. The apanaka badamane that we have is false ego. That is not greatness. Srila Prabhupada was once going for a preaching program. And because he was going for a long preaching program, one of his disciples, she was making kachoris for Srila Prabhupada. And she was making kachoris and there was a nice box that Prabhupada was about to carry. So in that box, she was making kachoris and she was putting. She was making kachoris and she was putting. And Prabhupada very royally walked inside the room. And Prabhupada saw that she was cooking. So Prabhupada took one kachori and he ate. And she was making one kachori after another. And Prabhupada was putting one kachori after another inside his mouth. One after another, one after another, one after another. And she was thinking to herself, this kachori is for the travel. And Prabhupada is eating everything now. Maybe Prabhupada is inspired by my cooking. Prabhupada loves my cooking very much. So she looked at Prabhupada and asked, Prabhupada, who is your favorite cook? And she was expecting that Prabhupada will say, oh, you are the best cook that I've ever met. So she asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, who is your favorite cook? And Prabhupada said, I am myself. Prabhupada said, I am myself. I am my favorite cook. And her false ego was completely smashed. So many times Prabhupada would understand the mindset and he would smash the false ego. So the apanaka badamani that we have, that, oh, I'm very great, that is false ego. And that is why the acharyas, they compare false ego to honey. Madhu klivam cha madhvi ke sudhanam madhusudanam. Why? Because false ego has a characteristic like that of honey. It is sweet when someone praises us. Oh, Prabhu, you are the best. No one could have done this service better than you, Prabhu. Prabhu, you are the best devotee in the whole of congregation. Prabhu, you are the best devotee I've ever met. It is sweet, very sweet to hear, like that of honey. And when that sweetness enters into the ears, it is intoxicating. We become completely intoxicated by that praise. So that is why our Acharya say this false ego is like honey. It is sweet and intoxicating. But Madhu klivam cha madhvi ke sudhanam madhusudanam. Krishna is called as Madhusudan. Why? Because not just because he killed the demon Madhu, but he also kills the false ego which is there in the heart, which is not different from Madhu, honey. So it's a very interesting name that Krishna has, Madhusudan, because Madhu is like that of honey, that is false ego, and Krishna has this ability to kill or destroy the false ego that is present in the heart. Madhu klevam cha madhvike sudhanam madhusudanam. So in this way, Kaviraj Goswami describes different set of devotees, and from Sakhiras, he goes one notch higher. Now he starts explaining Mother Yashoda's love. Mata more putra bhave kare na bandhan ati hi na jnana kare lalana palan. My mother, in genuine parental love, in motherly love, she binds me and she considers me utterly helpless. Ati hina jnana kare lalana palan. She considers me utterly helpless. When Krishna appeared in this world, and when Krishna was there in his small, cute cradle, Mother Yashoda looked at Krishna and she was so enamored by the beauty of Krishna that when she looked at Krishna, she looked at the face of Krishna and it was resembling a blue lotus flower. Then she looked at the feet of Krishna and it was resembling a pink lotus flower. And then she looked at the small nose of Krishna and it was resembling a sesame flower. And she looked completely and she thought to herself, oh, this is actually a basket full of flowers. A face is like a blue flower, the feet is like a pink flower, and the nose is like a sesame flower. So she was completely convinced that this is actually a box of flowers. Then she looked at the small baby toenails of Krishna and she thought, no, this is not a box of flowers. This is a box of jewels. The nail of Krishna was like that of emerald, and different parts of Krishna's body she would see and she would consider, oh, this is like a gold, this is emerald, this is ruby, this is diamond. And she thought, no, this is not a box of flowers. This is actually a box of jewels. But then finally, she looked at the complete form of Krishna, especially the lips of Krishna. And the lips of Krishna was like that of the bimba fruit. This is exactly what Satyavrata Muni says in Damodara-ashtakam. The lips of Krishna resembles that of a bimba fruit. So now Mother Yashoda looked at the lips, small baby pink lips of Krishna. And she thought to herself, no, 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 this is not a box of flowers. This is not a box of jewels. This is actually a box of cut fruits. And she saw the different limbs of Krishna as cut fruits. And in this way, she was completely mesmerized by the beauty of Krishna. And Krishna was looking at Mother Yashoda, and Krishna was thinking, my mother is becoming a yogi. She is now meditating on my beautiful form. So Krishna decided to yawn. Baby Krishna nicely yawned. And our Acharyas say, when Krishna yawned, Mother Yashoda saw the whole cosmic manifestation in Krishna's mouth. All the planets, all the galaxies, all the universe, including planet Earth, including Vrindavan, to such an extent, she even saw her own self in Nanda Maharaj and Sri Krishna. Now she was completely bewildered. What is going on? First, I thought it is a box of flowers. Then I thought it is a box of jewels. Then I thought it is a box of fruits. And then now Krishna has yawned and I'm seeing the whole universe. And Krishna thinks to himself, my mother is again speculating. I yawn so that she gets distracted, but seems like she's again speculating. So baby Krishna smiled. And our Acharya say, when baby Krishna smiled, Mother Yashoda forgot everything. Kavi Karnapur and Anand Vrindavan Champu, he says, when will that day be ours? When we can see this baby smiling face of Gopal. Idam teva purnatha Gopala balam sada me manasya virastam kim anye. When will that day come in the course of eternity when we can see that small baby smiling face of Gopal that Mother Yashoda saw? So now Kaviraj Goswami first has described the Sakhya Ras, then he has described the parental love, then he goes one notch higher to describe the gopis of Vrindavan. Priya yadi manakari koroe bhartsan vedastuti hoite hara sei moraman. The gopis of Vrindavan are described. And this is so interesting, dear devotees. This comes from Anand Vrindavan Champu. The gopis of Vrindavan, when Krishna was very small, Krishna was just beginning to walk. And at that time, one gopi, she came to Krishna and said, Krishna, where is your eyes? And Krishna with his small fingers, he pointed. And then another gopi came and she said, Krishna, where is your nose? And Krishna with a small baby finger, he pointed this way. And another gopi came, Krishna, where is your hands? And then Krishna nicely pointed, oh, this is my hand. And then one gopi came, Upananda Maharaj's wife. She came and she asked Krishna, where is Maya? And that time Krishna anxiously was looking everywhere and he couldn't find his Maya. So very anxiously he was looking, and then finally he found his mother and he pointed. So Upananda Maharaj's wife, she asked, who is she? And Krishna said, Ma. Kavi Karnapur describes Krishna addressed his mother as Ma. And another gopi pointing at Nanda Maharaj, another gopi said, Krishna, who is he? And Krishna said, Ba. And then one gopi came and she said, who are they? Pointing to Nanda and Yashoda. And Krishna said, Ma, Ba. Very beautiful. Kavi Karnapur and Anand Vrindavan Champu describes Krishna, that Krishna who will later speak the Bhagavad Gita in 48 straight minutes to Arjuna, that Supreme Lord is learning to talk and baby walk. And the gopis of Vrindavan are mesmerized by this beauty of Sri Krishna. So Krishna says, Priya yadi manakare koroe bhartsan. Even if such gopis who love me so dearly, even if they chastise me, their chastisement is nectar to my ears in comparison to all the Veda stutis. Krishna says, I hear the Veda stutis, the Purusha Suktas, I hear it everywhere. But this chastisement that I get in Braj from the gopis of Vrindavan, that is not available anywhere else. So in this way, Kaviraj Goswami, he makes this point that Krishna comes down with these set of devotees. This is the class of devotees with whom Krishna comes down to set a benchmark of pure love. He describes the friend of Krishna. He describes Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, and then the gopis of Vrindavan. And Kaviraj Goswami says, these associates of the Supreme Lord will come down in Vrindavan Dham to teach the whole world what pure love is. To such an extent, Kaviraj Goswami even says that even the Vaikuntha-vasis would have not seen such love. And Krishna would come to teach everyone, including us, about pure love. So this is just the first line, dear devotees of the Damodara-ashtakam. Namam Ishwaram Sachit Ananda Rupam. It's been already 45 minutes and we are just discussing the first line. Because Satyavrata Muni says Namam Ishwaram Sachit Ananda Rupam, but it is loaded with so much rasa and so much content that Satyavrata Muni wants to make everyone clear that this is the position of Krishna. This is the set of devotees with whom he is going to come. And then in the next line, he starts describing. What does he say? Namam Ishwaram Sachit Ananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam. Where are these pastimes happening? Well, these pastimes are happening in Gokul, in the land of Gokul. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami does a very brilliant wordplay on the word Gokul. He says, Gokulam Gokulair Ninniye, Gokulam Gokulair Haran, Gokulair Gokulam Strinam, Gokulam Gokuleshwara. Kaviraj Goswami, he says, when the Lord of Gokul entered Gokul with all his Gokul, which means Go means cow and Kula means group. So when the Lord of Gokul entered Gokul with all his Gokul, the gopis of Vrindavan looked at the Lord of Gokul with all their Gokul. Because Go also means senses and Kula means group. So the gopis of Vrindavan looked at the Lord of Gokul with all their senses, which means group of senses. So Kaviraj Goswami does a very brilliant wordplay with this word of Gokul. So these pastimes are happening in the land of Gokul. And the reason that gopis of Vrindavan are looking at Krishna, who is the Lord of Gokul, is they are enamored by the beauty, which Satyavrata Muni next says by saying Lasat Kundalam. Why are the gopis looking at Krishna this way? Because the roop is described, the form of Krishna is described, Lasat Kundalam. The earrings of the Supreme Lord are described. When Sri Krishna in Vrindavan would steal butter. So one day, one gopi came to the house of Maya Yashoda and holding the hand of Krishna, she called out Yashoda and she said, Mother Yashoda, just look at your son Krishna. He's beginning to steal. He's stealing butter from the house of everyone. My son is better than your son. And now this was a thunderbolt to the heart of Mother Yashoda. Even in this world, we see it is a thunderbolt to the heart of any mother when she hears that someone else's child is better than her own son. What to speak of Mother Yashoda? So when Mother Yashoda heard this, it was a thunderbolt to her heart. And another gopi came. She said, oh, this is nothing. Hear what Krishna did in my house. When I got to know that Krishna is stealing, I stacked up the pots of butter one after the other because I know Krishna is small. So I stacked them one after another. But somehow he has his monkey friends. He brings all of the monkey friends and they stand on the shoulder of each other and somehow Krishna gets on top. Krishna basically does daihandi. He stands on one after another and Krishna breaks the pot. And another gopi, she says, oh, this is nothing. You should hear what Krishna does in my house. So the another gopi thinks, Acha, what does Krishna do in your house? In my house, I know Krishna is stealing butter. So I make my husband stand outside. Like a chokidar, he's standing outside to make sure that Krishna doesn't enter. So when all the children come, my husband very easily, he drives them away. He says, oh, no, there is no butter. He drives them away. But when Krishna comes, Krishna very nicely smiles. He smiles and he says, hello, uncle. He smiles and my husband, my foolish husband is so mesmerized by the beauty of Krishna that he doesn't even understand. And Krishna has already sneaked in to the house. And my foolish husband, what he does is he even points that Krishna, here is the pot of butter. Go there, you will find the pot of butter. And Krishna goes inside and Krishna searches everywhere. And Krishna doesn't find the pot of butter. So he again comes out and he asks my husband, where is the pot of butter? I didn't find. And the husband says, oh no, it is there only. You go straight, take a left, you'll find. The gopi says, my husband is so foolish. My own family is doing this to me. Another gopi comes and she says, oh, this is nothing. You should hear what Krishna does in my house. So the other gopi say, Acha, what does Krishna do in your house? That gopi, she says, I know that Krishna comes and steals butter. I also know that Krishna is expert in climbing. And I also know that if I keep my husband outside, Krishna will still enter. So what I do is I switch off all the lights. I switch off all the lights just to make sure Krishna doesn't enter. Even if he enters, he cannot find anything. So the gopis, then they ask, Acha, then what happened? The gopi says, what to do? Maya, Yashoda, you put so many ornaments on Krishna that they illuminate. They illuminate the whole room. Even if it's completely dark, the ornaments, Maya, that you put, they illuminate the whole room. So Maya, Yashoda, when she hears this, she says, do you want me to remove the ornaments? The gopi says, no, don't remove the ornaments. They look very good on Krishna. Please don't remove the ornaments. So the gopis chastise, but in their heart, they still want Krishna to steal butter. So this is what Satyavrata Muni is saying, Lasat Kundalam, the ornaments are described. Why is the earring described? Well, because when Krishna runs, it is only the earring that has got the opportunity to kiss the chubby blue cheeks of Krishna. No other ornament has got this opportunity. It's only the earrings. When it goes back and forth, when Krishna is running, it kisses these small, baby, soft, chubby cheeks of Sri Krishna. And Satyavrata Muni makes a very strong point. Actually, Uddhava, he says, Parampadam Bhushana Bhushanangam. For most people in this world, the ornaments, they decorate the person. For example, we are decorated by the help of the ornaments. But Uddhav says it doesn't work this way for Krishna. Parampadam Bhushana Bhushanangam. The ornaments don't ornament Krishna, but it is Krishna who ornaments the ornament. The ornaments become more ornamented by Krishna's beauty. When the ornament is put in the ear of Krishna, the beauty of Krishna's ear doesn't increase, but the beauty of the ornament increases. He says this is the glory of the ornaments of Sri Krishna. Lasat kundalam gokule brajamanam. And then Satyavrata Muni then describes the last two lines. Yashodha biyo lukha ladhava manam param ristamatyantato dhurta gopya. He describes the last two lines. So when the gopis have now chastised to Mother Yashoda thinks to herself that maybe Krishna is stealing in other houses. Maybe it is because of the reason that the dasis are making butter. Shukadev Goswami starts off, he opens this discussion of Damodar Lila by saying, Ekada graha daseshu Yashoda ananda gehini karmantara niyuktasu nirmamanta swayam dadi yani iha gitani tad bala charitani cha. Ekada graha daseshu. At that time, Mother Yashoda thinks, oh, all the gopis are complaining that Krishna is stealing butter. Maybe the reason Krishna is stealing butter is because the dasis are making. And the dasis, maybe they're making this out of formality. But if I make butter out of pure motherly affection, then it is possible that Krishna will not go anywhere. Nirmamanta swayam dadi. Thinking thus, Mother Yashoda does swayam dadi. She herself starts making butter. She doesn't ask the dasis to make. And how is she making butter? What is the mood? Yani iha gitani tad bal charitani cha. When Mother Yashoda is making butter, she is remembering different pastimes of Sri Krishna. Oh, when Krishna was 6 days, he killed Putana. Then there was Shakatasur. Then there was Trinavarta. So she was making up her own composition and she was remembering Krishna. While making butter, she was chanting the different names of Krishna. Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. Hey Krishna, Hey Yadava, Hey Sakheti, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. In this way, Mother Yashoda was chanting the different names of Krishna. And now, dear devotees, this is very instructive. The reason being, Mother Yashoda was doing her work and she was chanting the names of God, which means whatever activity we are involved in, whether it is writing an email to our boss, whether it is doing assignments, or whether it is walking or jogging, or whatever we are doing, or whether we are there in the kitchen making bhoga, we have to follow in the footsteps of Mother Yashoda. The tongue has to always keep vibrating the way Mother Yashoda did. Yani, Yani iha Gitani. She was constantly chanting the holy names of the Supreme Lord. This is precisely also the point Haridas Thakur makes when he's speaking to the prostitute. He says, Nirantara naam lo kara tulasi sevan achirata pabe tumi Shri Krishnera charan. What is the means to get Krishna's lotus feet? Nirantara naam lo. The tongue should always be vibrating the holy name. So Mother Yashoda was doing this and she is teaching all of us. Shukadev Goswami is teaching all of us. Srila Prabhupada is teaching all of us that whatever activity we are in, whatever it is, whichever walk of life, our tongue has to always keep vibrating the holy names of the Lord, just like Mother Yashoda did. So Mother Yashoda was making butter. And then later, as we know, one day it so happened that Maya was feeding her milk to Sri Krishna. Krishna was in the lap of Mother Yashoda and Krishna was drinking the milk of Mother Yashoda. And at this point, dear devotees, Srila Jiva Goswami makes a very fantastic point. Srila Jiva Goswami says that when Krishna was drinking the milk, Gopal had a very big smile on his face. And looking at the big smile on his face, Maya Yashoda became so happy. And when Maya Yashoda became happy, the milk that she was providing became even more sweeter. And the milk, when it became even more sweeter, Gopal had a bigger smile. And when Maya Yashoda looked at the bigger smile, Maya became more happy and her milk started becoming more sweeter. And the milk, when it became more sweeter, Gopal had a wider smile. And in this way, Jiva Goswami says, Maya Yashoda and Krishna were helping each other increase the rasa of the pastime. And there again, Jiva Goswami makes this point. When will that day arise when we can see the sweet smile of baby Gopal, just like the way Mother Yashoda did? And now later in this pastime, we see that there is a pot of milk on the stove. And we also have heard multiple commentaries on that. But there's an interesting point that arises here. Mother Yashoda, when she saw the pot of milk, she decided to keep Krishna down to the ground and she attended to the pot of milk. Now there is a very interesting point here, devotees. When Krishna was kept down to the ground, Krishna was displeased by this act of Maya. And that is the reason we know he took a stone and threw at one of the pot and the buttermilk started flowing, which means Krishna was displeased when Maya kept him down. Now, what is the definition of bhakti? Srila Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, he says, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anabhritam anukulena krishnano shilanam bhakti uttamam. Bhakti is anukul. It has to be favorable, which means bhakti has to be pleasing to Krishna. So now Mother Yashoda kept Krishna down, which displeased Krishna, which means she should not be a devotee. While on the flip side, Varahadev, when he was fighting with Hiranyaksha was slamming the arm of Varahadev. And every time the arm of Varahadev was slammed, Varahadev would love it so much in Virya Ras. The rasa would increase and the Lord would love it every time he would be slammed on his arm. So as far as definition is concerned, Hiranyaksha should be a Paramahamsa Mahabhagat Vaishnava because he pleased the Lord, while Maya should not be a devotee because she displeased the Lord. But at this point, dear devotees, there is another interesting point to the Anya Bilashita Shunyam verse. Rupa Goswami says it is not just pleasing Krishna, but it is also depends on our intention to please Krishna. When Hiranyaksha slammed Varahadev, no doubt the Supreme Lord was very happy. But was the intention to please Varahadev? Was Hiranyaksha's intention to please Varahadev? No. His intention was not to please him. His intention was to destroy the Supreme Lord. But now on the flip side, dear devotees, even though Mother Yashoda kept Krishna down and she displeased, her intention was to please Krishna because she was attending to the milk that would later be used for Sri Krishna. So bhakti not only means pleasing the Supreme Lord, but it also means our intention to please the Supreme Lord. Hiranyaksha's intention was not to please the Supreme Lord, while on the flip side, Maya Yashoda's intention was to please Krishna. And this is the reason why we keep Yashoda in the altar and we don't keep Hiranyaksha on the altar, because the intentions differed. So at this point, when Mother Yashoda has attended to the pot of milk and Krishna has broken another buttermilk pot, and then Krishna, as we know, he goes to another room and he starts eating the butter that's already prepared by Maya Yashoda. And Krishna is sitting with all his monkey friends and nicely they're having a gala time. They're having a complete party. And then Maya Yashoda gets to know, she from a distance, Shivara Maharaj, he mentions this in his book Damodar Janani. Very beautiful point. Maya Yashoda from a distance, she sees what Krishna is doing. So Maya Yashoda is seeing Krishna, but Krishna is not seeing the mother. So Maya Yashoda is seeing, and Shivara Maharaj says that Krishna at that time is sitting cross-legged. And one after another, the monkeys you see in Vrindavan, they're very restless. So Krishna is telling the monkeys, oh, don't be restless. Come in a proper line. We have lots of butter. I will give butter to everyone. And for some monkeys, Krishna with his baby hand is even feeding for the baby monkeys. And for the elderly big monkeys, Krishna is giving them their hand. And Krishna is sitting cross-legged and doing this. And Mother Yashoda from a distance is seeing, and she's laughing. And she is thinking to herself, seems like my son has become a yogi. He's sitting cross-legged and like a yogi is sitting, just like the yogis do. So at that time, our acharyas comment that Vayudev, the wind, whispered in the ear of Mother Yashoda that Maya, he is not a yogi, but he is the guru of all the yogis. He is the Lord of all the yogis. He is not a yogi, but he is the Lord of all the yogis. But as we know, Maya Yashoda's love is so high that these opulence pastimes of Krishna doesn't go into her ear. Yogamaya has completely covered the Brajavasis that they can never see the Aishwarya of the Supreme Lord. So she starts laughing when Krishna is doing this. And at that time, she also thinks to herself, at the age of 2 and 2.5, he's stealing butter. He's going to different houses. He's lying. He's eating dirt. What is all this? If this is how he continues, which father will give his daughter in marriage? How will Krishna get married? So Mother Yashoda thinks to herself, it is time that I teach my son a lesson. It is time that I chastise him. And she looks around to find something so that Krishna can get scared. And she picks up a stick. And our acharyas say, this stick was actually the stick of Nanda Maharaj. And this stick somehow by the will of providence was left in that room by Nanda the previous day. So when Maya Yashoda just looked around, she found this stick. And to add to this, our acharyas also say, this was not just a normal stick, but this stick was embedded with all the jewels. It was embedded with gold, emeralds, rubies, pearls. It had everything on it. So it was not just a $10 rod or a stick, but it was very expensive that Maya Yashoda had picked. and she picked up this stick. And at that time, Krishna looked at his mother, and Krishna was thinking to himself, is my mother going to beat me? Is she going to scare me? What is this? My mother has taken a stick. The Supreme Lord became completely scared. And that is the point when he starts running in fear from Mother Yashoda. Now, again, such an interesting point, dear devotees. Our Acharyas say, when we take shelter of Krishna's feet, fearlessness is guaranteed. Anyone who takes shelter of Krishna's feet becomes completely fearless. Bhajahure mana Shri Nandanandana Abhaya Charanara Vindare. Anyone who takes the shelter of Krishna's feet becomes abhaya, becomes completely fearless. That Lord who grants fearlessness to everyone is now running in fear, seeing the whipping stick of Mother Yashoda. This is pure Vatsalya Ras, dear devotees. That Lord who's not scared of anyone, who can drag Kamsa to death, who can destroy elephants, mad elephants like Kuvalaya Pid, is now running in fear, just looking at the stick of Maya Yashoda. So when Maya is running and Krishna is also running, the flowers that are there on the head of Maya Yashoda, they think to themselves that the Supreme Lord is granting fearlessness to everyone, but now seeing Mother Yashoda's love, he is running in fear. Our position is not to be in the head of Mother Yashoda. Our position is actually to be at her feet, because her love is so high that she has completely conquered the heart of Sri Krishna. And thinking thus, the flowers that are there on the head of Mother Yashoda, they fall onto the ground in parental mood. So in this way, later, as we know, when Krishna is running and Mother Yashoda is running behind, she runs in greater speed from behind and catches hold of Krishna. At this point, there are various commentaries that come up, but when it comes to Damodar Lila, it's always a challenge with time. So Mother Yashoda, somehow she catches Krishna from behind and she binds, and then we have different commentaries of the 2 fingers too short. But an interesting point here, dear devotees, is how did Mother Yashoda actually catch Krishna? Was it because of her strength? No, because Mother Yashoda, you see in the 10th canto, chapter 9, Shukadeva Goswami describes the bodily beauty of Mother Yashoda. And at that point, it is clearly evident that Mother Yashoda was just a cowherd damsel. She was not strong like Kamsa or Kuvalaya Pid or any of those demons as far as strength is concerned. She was just a cowherd damsel. So then how is it that she could go and catch Krishna? How is it that she could bind Krishna? The reason is very simple, dear devotees. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur answers this in Chaitanya Bhagavat. When he is describing the pastime of Kolavecha Sridhar, he makes this point. Kolavecha seva kara dekhya bhagya sima, Brahma Shiva kandeyara dekhiya mahima, Dhane jane panditye Krishna nahi pai, Kevala bhakti ravasa Chaitanya Gosai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, he describes that Sridhar Kolavecha did not have anything. Kolavecha seva kara dekhye bhagya sima. Oh, just look at the fortune of Kolavecha Sridhar. Brahma Shiva kandeyara dekhiya mahima. Even Brahma and Shiva are shedding tears looking at the fortune of Kolavecha Sridhar, because the Supreme Lord, as Nimai Pandit, would every day come to Kolavecha Sridhar and would buy banana leaves from him. Brahma and all the demigods, they are performing yagya so that they get a human body. And here is Kolavecha Sridhar with the Supreme Lord every day when the Lord would come as Nimai Pandit. So dekhye bhagya sima. And then Vrindavan Das Thakur says, Dhane jane panditye Krishna nahi pai. Oh, your dhana, your wealth, your jana, the followers, and panditya, your intelligence, your scholarly ability, these things can never attract the heart of Krishna. Dhane jane panditye Krishna nahi pai. Oh, then what is that thing that can bind the heart of Krishna? Kevala bhakti ravasa chaitanya gosai. Oh, it is only and only and only bhakti that can bind the heart of Krishna. Krishna is hungry for the love of his devotees. Krishna is not wanting anything else from any of us, but he is just desiring one thing, that is pure love. What he is desiring is bhakti. And this is precisely the reason why the Brajavasis could conquer Krishna, because they did not want anything from Krishna, no strings attached. Ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. Their bhakti was ahaituki. They did not want anything from Krishna. If they got to know that Krishna is God, still it doesn't matter. Their love for Krishna remains same. And if they got to know that Krishna is not God, still doesn't matter. Their love for Krishna remains same. Their love was always constant, is always constant for Sri Krishna. So in this way, Shukadev Goswami, very in detail, he describes this pastime in 23 beautiful verses. And all we can pray is, may our mind be purified by these beautiful pastimes of Krishna and Vrindavan, and may one day arise in eternity when we can ourselves be a part of Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.